We got about 5 or 6 different federal judges that are working overtime to box Donald Trump in when it comes to his abuse of due process, human rights, and the rule of law on how he's handling migrants and immigrants. We've got Judge Zinnes, we got Judge Boasberg, we got Judge Crenshaw, we got Judge Holmes. They're working together and separately with new rulings that have all happened in the last 48 to 72 hours. We cover it all on Legal AF, the podcast, on our most recent edition. And here's a clip. Courts, though, are figuring out, it's like AI, they've figured out how they need to respond to Donald Trump's illegal abuse of power immigration policy and is lying to federal courts and federal judges. And right on cue, when you and I heard, and we did the reporting about Erez Ruveni, the whistleblower who worked 15 years in the immigration division of the Department of Justice, including when he worked in the Trump administration the first time around. They had no problem with him then when he was busy enforcing the Muslim ban. But, he tells the truth to one judge that Abrego Garcia should not have been sent to El Salvador because he had an order in his back pocket of non-removal to El Salvador. He gets fired, and now he becomes a whistleblower. 28 pages saying that Emil Bovey and others at a meeting told them to lie to federal judges effectively. When they're asked what's going on with planes that are fueling and being sent to El Salvador and other third countries, don't tell them, even if you know. And that we knew was bad. And somebody would be making a referral to the bar associations. And lo and behold, let's start with Chief Judge of the DC Circuit, DC Court, Boasberg. Now, Boasberg's in a little bit of a knot, but he figured out a way to get himself and wriggle out. He's the judge that back in April found probable cause to find criminal contempt against the Trump administration and the Department of Justice, starting to put officials in jail. A 3-judge panel, 2-1, of the DC Court of Appeals, led by Trumpers, Rayo and Katsas, not only issued an administrative stay back in April, we're now in July, almost August, but they haven't done a darn thing to advance the case. There's no oral argument. There's no supplemental briefing. The ACLU keeps filing with them. Here, Erez Ruveni says that Department of Justice lawyers were told to lie to federal judges. They were like, all right, just put it in the docket. We'll get to it one day, meaning never. But so he can't progress, Boasberg, his probable cause for criminal contempt. So when he was at a hearing on Thursday with this new information, he said, look, this whistleblower, this strengthens my probable cause for criminal contempt. And I know that the plaintiffs are frustrated. The ACLU and others are frustrated by the appellate court not moving on this. But there is something that I can do. And I'm strongly considering making referrals to state bar grievance committees and bar associations for disciplinary action against the Department of Justice because I've been lied to. It's effectively what he said. And we can have some hope that the DC bar in particular, which is not led by Pam Bondi's brother, although he tried, and is led by competent, really good people, are going to take that referral seriously. And they're not going to take a cop-out like the Florida bar and say, oh, we can't go after Pam Bondi because she's in federal office. We got to wait till she's out. Like, where is that in the bar rules? But I don't think the DC bar is going to do that. I don't think the New Jersey bar is going to do that against Alina Habba. We'll touch on that in a minute, too. So he said he did the one thing left in his toolbox. I'm going after you guys, the Department of Justice lawyers who lied to me. That's one set of lies that we've talked about. You've got the Alina Habba. This is the corruption of the Department of Justice. Alina Habba can't get the full-time gig of being the New Jersey U.S. attorney. Not only does Donald Trump have to have another scandal and another abuse of power that'll get challenged in the courts to give his office wife the job. That's the only way she can get the job, is if he violates the statute, violates the Constitution, withdraws her name from confirmation at the Senate, so he can try to do some sort of appointment, a special attorney, and get her the job. All this is going to do is buy another lawsuit against Donald Trump. If you're scoring at home, it'll be up to 500 lawsuits already against Donald Trump. And I also think there's another problem, because if I'm a criminal defense lawyer in New Jersey and I get an indictment that has the office of Alina Habba written on it, I challenge her appointment and challenge the veracity or the validity of the indictment. Because once a person is found to have been improperly, unconstitutionally appointed to a position, then the argument goes that everything they did is void ab initio, void at the start. So we got that to look forward to in New Jersey. Then you've got another judge, Judge Zinnes, who's handling the Abrego Garcia case, sort of a companion case with the one that Judge Boasberg is handling. And she's basically said, I'm going to take protective custody of Abrego Garcia. She's working in collaboration in her own way with the judges in Tennessee who have the criminal case. So the criminal case against Abrego Garcia, which we've always known was a fraud, is going to be dismissed. They're not going to pursue it, but he's not going to get released from federal penitentiary marshal protection. He's been now ordered by Judge Zinnes to be brought to Maryland, where she can keep a close eye on him as she continues to consider contempt against the Trump administration. Let me do a spoiler alert. She's going to ultimately find contempt against the Trump administration. And now she's got a different appellate court above her, one that doesn't have this Trump problem as much, the Fourth Circuit. And the chief judge is there, like Harvey Wilkerson, and I think who's already supported her twice before, and I think they'll support a contempt charge against the Trump administration coming out of Zinnes. That's something to look forward to. And then lastly, you've got this judge in the Eastern District of New York that I just did a hot take on, who wants to get to the bottom of why all of a sudden is Pam Bondi allowing the top leadership of MS-13, which I thought was one of the justifications to declare that Donald Trump had war powers under the Alien Enemies Act. Why are they all being sent back to El Salvador and having their federal charges dismissed? We caught it early on, you and me, a couple of months ago, back in April, when she stood, Pam Bondi, in Virginia to try to embarrass the senator there who was supporting, in Maryland, supporting Abrego Garcia, and saying, we caught an MS-13 top leader. We did. And then 2 weeks later, she dismissed the charges. Because this is the lie that the Trump administration makes. They set up the false narrative. We're taking pedophiles, literally. That's a weird word for them, strange word for them to be using right now. We are taking pedophiles and drug smugglers and rapists and murderers and ever's off the streets. And if you're opposed to our immigration policy, you're pro-pedophile. We already know who thinks somebody's pro-pedophile. But that's not what's happening. 60 or 70% of the people that are being caught up in these bounties by Stephen Miller are not criminals at all. They might have muddy documented status, but they're not criminals. And so the judge in Long Island is like, you're dismissing the charges against the number 2 in MS-13 after he's already provided testimony and evidence that Bukele in El Salvador is in bed with MS-13, and you're sending him to Bukele. And apparently this other bargain that you and I will continue to follow is that Bukele is going to give Trump, here's an art of the deal, a 50% discount on the $6 million that we gave Bukele to house human beings in CCOT. He'll give back half of it if Trump sends all the people that have testified against Bukele in the United States back to Bukele. And she wants to get to the bottom of that. She's ordered the Department of Justice by August 8th to give her a full report as to why the MS-13 people their charges are being dismissed. What is the link between Bukele and that? And she also wants to know and the 200 people that you just human trafficked to another dictatorship in Venezuela with the Maduro campaign and regime in order to get 10 Americans out. Why did that happen? Now, we know what Trump's going to do. He's going to argue, state secrets, diplomacy, Article 2 powers. But it's a special shout out to that judge in Islip, Long Island, near one of your old hometowns, who is putting the Trump administration and the Department of Justice, putting their feet to the fire about this. And lastly on that, she also excoriated them because they actually had the balls to say everything about MS-13 and their dismissal of all these charges and the destruction of Operation Vulcan, which was supposed to take these people off the street. They wanted to do it behind sealed documents and behind the prying eyes of the public and the media. And she said, in 21 pages, she said, absolutely not. And I find it appalling that you're trying to do all this without the public knowing about it. We got to still rely on federal judges, working federal judges, to hold the Trump administration's feet to a fire and call out their abuse of power. Welcome back. Legal AF, the podcast, Wednesdays and Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the Midas Touch Network. Free versions on Legal AF Substack and on Patreon. There's people ask, how can we support you? Here's how you support us. Join us for the YouTube version. Download the audio version as well. That helps. Leave a 5-star review. This is all the love that comes through the bellows that keeps the fire burning for Legal AF, and us. We have a love burning for you for sure. We really appreciate our audience and respect our audience and everything that we do. And we just ask for that in return. No paywalls, no outside investors, no corporate parent companies. We're in this together. We vibrate on the same frequency. Take a minute. Subscribe to the podcast, listen to the audio, watch the video, Legal AF, the Substack, Legal AF, the YouTube channel. So until my next report, I'm Michael Popok. I'm Michael Popok, and I got some big news for our audience. Most of you know me as the co-founder of Midas Touch's Legal AF and the Legal AF YouTube channel, or as a 35-year national trial lawyer. Now, building on what we started together on Legal AF, I've launched a new law firm, the Popok Firm, dedicated to obtaining justice through compassionate and zealous legal representation. At the Popok Firm, we are focused on obtaining justice for those who have been injured or damaged by a life-altering event, by securing the highest dollar recoveries. I've been tirelessly fighting for justice for the last 35 years, so my own law firm organically building on my Legal AF work just feels right. And I've handpicked a team of top-tier trial fighters and settlement experts throughout all 50 states known as big auto injury attorneys who have the know-how to beat heartless insurance companies, corporations, government entities, and their attorneys. Big Auto's attorneys working with my firm are rock stars in their respective states and collectively responsible for billions of dollars in recoveries. So if you or a loved one have been on the wrong side of a catastrophic auto, motor vehicle, rideshare, or truck accident, suffered a personal injury, or been the victim of medical malpractice, employment harassment or discrimination, or suffered a violation of your civil and constitutional rights, then contact the Popok Firm today at 1-877-POPOK-AF or by visiting my website at www.thepopokfirm.com and fill out a free case evaluation form. And if we determine that you have a case and you sign with us, we don't get paid unless you do. The Popok Firm, fighting for your justice every step of the way.